In 2000, dot-com millionaires were being created overnight, and two massive companies decided to do what seemed, at the time, the deal of the century. AOL, the company whose little running man was on everybody's computer in America, announced it would merge with Time Warner in a deal worth $165 billion. The press called it the merger of the millennium. Analysts raved and stock prices soared, and executives posed for magazine covers. Then the dot-com bubble burst. The cultures of the two companies, one a scrappy digital startup and the other a century-old media empire, clashed so violently that the executives could barely hold a meeting without fighting. Synergies that were supposed to generate billions never appeared. 2 years later, AOL Time Warner reported that was then the largest annual loss in U.S. corporate history, $99 billion. The company eventually split apart, and what remained of AOL was ultimately sold to Verizon for just $4.4 billion in 2015. What happened? How does the biggest deal of a generation become the biggest disaster of a generation? That's what this video is all about. Welcome to HR Insight. I'm John Paul McFarland. Today we're diving into the world of mergers and acquisitions, or M&As, why they're such powerful strategic tools, why they so often fail, and what the best companies do to actually make them work. Robert Etchinger, Michael Lombardo, and Dale Ulrich researched M&As and shared their findings in their book, 100 Things You Need to Know, Best People Practices for Managers in HR. They posed the following question. Let's see if you know the answer. Overall, what portion of mergers and acquisitions are deemed successful, meaning they performed up to the goals set before the event? A. Most are successful against the targets and goals set before the event. B. Mergers are 2 times more successful than acquisitions. C. Less than 50% of mergers and acquisitions are successful. D. Acquisitions are 2 times more successful than mergers. Or E. About 50% are successful, with a third being very successful. The correct answer is C. Less than 50% of mergers and acquisitions are successful, and the evidence is solid, meaning extensive research supports it, it is widely agreed upon, and the findings are not likely to change in our lifetime. First, let's appreciate the sheer scale of what we're talking about. According to recent data, global M&A deal value approached $5 trillion in 2025, second only to the pandemic-era boom of 2021. We're talking about thousands of deals, reshaping entire industries every single year. And yet, here's the uncomfortable truth most CEOs and investment bankers don't want to talk about. The market always seems to applaud major mergers, even though the vast majority of them don't work out and don't increase shareholder value. The applause at the announcement press conference is often the high point of the whole deal. After that, buckle up. So if M&As are so risky, why do companies keep doing them at such a massive scale? The authors say that done right, they can be extraordinarily powerful. They cite Harvard Business School professor Joseph Bauer, who identified 5 distinct types of M&As. And understanding the type that you're dealing with is critical to predicting its success. 1. The overcapacity M&A. This is 37% of all deals. This is where a company acquires a competitor to eliminate excess capacity and gain market share. Think Daimler-Benz buying Chrysler. These are the toughest to pull off. The two management teams often fight for control. They have the highest failure rate of any M&A type. 2. The geographic roll-up M&A. This accounts for about 9% of deals. Here, a company expands what it does into a broader geography. Culture integration can go slowly, and these deals tend to be win-win. They're usually the smoothest to execute. 3. Product market extension M&As. They comprise 36% of the deals. Companies here want to expand product lines or enter international markets, but farther from home you go, the harder it gets. Quaker buying Snapple is a classic cautionary tale here. Quaker paid $1.7 billion and sold Snapple for just $300 million 3 years later. 4. M&A as a substitute for R&D. This comprises 1% of deals. Used to acquire innovation rather than developing it internally. Speed is everything here, and talent retention is critical. If people leave, you've often bought nothing but the name. 5. The industry convergence M&A. This is 4% of deals. This is a bet on an allied but different industry. Viacom buying Paramount or Blockbuster is an example. Here, the smartest companies leave the acquisition largely alone, only integrating where it creates value without disruption. The takeaway, according to the authors, knowing which type of deal you're in changes everything about how you should execute it. Studies covering 75 plus years of M&A activity have concluded that well over half failed to create expected value. In many cases, value was actually destroyed. A Business Week analysis found that 61% of business acquirers destroyed shareholder wealth. A year after closing, the losing companies had an average return of 25% points below their industry peers. More research is, if anything, more sobering. Harvard Business Review notes that acquisition failure rates are commonly reported between 70 and 90%, depending on how you define failure. EY's research confirms that 70 to 90% of all M&As fail or underperform against expectations. Despite decades of consultants, bankers, and business schools trying to improve these outcomes, the numbers haven't meaningfully improved. As one Business Week study puts it, there has been no improvement in CEOs' deal-making skills over the past 30 years. So why do smart people keep making these deals? Research pinpoints the 6 recurring culprits. 1. Inadequate due diligence by the acquiring company. They don't look deeply enough before they buy. As author Hendrith Von Smith puts it, when the due diligence process fails to account for a holistic set of data, then the leaders are incapable of having a holistic sense of how successful the deal might be. 2. Lack of a compelling strategic rationale. In other words, why are we even doing this? If you can't answer that question simply and clearly, the deal is already in trouble. 3. Unrealistic expectations of synergies. On paper, the combined company looks incredible. In reality, the synergies are notoriously hard to actually capture. Michael Porter argued that most would-be synergies are never realized. 4. Paying too much. Competitive bidding wars, pressure from investment bankers, and CEO ego all push acquisition prices far above what the target is actually worth. 5. Conflicting corporate cultures. This is a big one. Culture clash is constantly cited as the #1 reason M&As fail, and it is the one factor that is most often underestimated. 6. Failure to move quickly to integrate the two companies. Delay breeds uncertainty, which breeds talent loss, which breeds further failure. Speed matters enormously in the post-merger phase. Researchers Kroger, Habak, and Tram spent years studying failed M&As and distilled their findings into a 7-step framework. Let's walk through it quickly. Step 1, thorough due diligence. And that means financial and cultural due diligence. Most companies are great at the numbers, few are thorough about culture. Step 2, settle leadership issues first, before forming integration task groups. Nothing paralyzes an organization faster than uncertainty about who's in charge. Step 3, merge or acquire for growth, not synergy and cost avoidance. Growth-focused mergers consistently outperform cost-cutting mergers. Step 4, get early wins to motivate the workforce and reassure investors. Quick visible wins build confidence that the deal is working. Step 5, create a genuinely new culture. Don't just pick one of the 2 existing cultures and impose it. Actually build something new that reflects the new business you're building. Step 6, over-communicate. And then communicate more. Uncertainty kills morale and accelerates talent loss. When people don't know what's happening, they assume the worst. Step 7, prioritize ruthlessly. You can never do everything at once. The companies that succeed know what matters most and focus is there first. The human factor is the one thing that changes everything. Let's talk about this for a moment, because it deserves special attention. Deloitte's research puts it plainly. Organizational culture, the shared values, beliefs, and behaviors that shape how the work actually gets done, is among the top factors that determines whether an M&A creates value or destroys it. EY found that navigating cultural alignment is the top people challenge in executing M&As. Leaders who put humans first at the center of the transaction, who treat people as real assets being combined, not just the balance sheets, consistently outperform those who treat the mergers as a financial exercise. Here's what we've covered today. M&As are among the most powerful and perilous strategic tool available to business leaders. They move at a scale measured in trillions of dollars and affect the lives of millions of employees, shareholders, and communities. Most of them fail. The evidence spanning 75 years is consistent. Less than half of them meet the targets set for them. Some researchers put that rate as high as 70 to 90%. The reasons are well understood. Poor due diligence, unrealistic synergy expectations, paying too much, cultural clashes, slowing integration, and unclear strategy. None of these are mysteries, and yet the pattern repeat themselves deal after deal, decade after decade. The companies that beat the odds share common traits. They do their homework. They move decisively post-merger. They take culture seriously from day one. They communicate obsessively. They remember that behind every deal are human beings who need leadership, clarity, and purpose. As one executive put it in Deloitte's research, he considered an acquisition a success only when, in his words, we reach an understanding of a company's culture, its employees, and its values. It's not EBITDA, it's not market share, it's people. The next time you read about a major merger announcement, and at least in the near term, there will be no shortages of them, ask yourself, do these two companies have a compelling strategic rationale? Are they prepared for the cultural work that comes next? Do they have a real plan for the people? If the answer to those questions is yes, the deal might just work. If the answer is, well, the synergies look good on paper, you might want to take another look.
John Paul here. If you like this video, check out the HR Insight YouTube channel where we have more videos just like this. Make sure to click subscribe so you get notifications.